Hey guys, today on our online marketing adventure, we're going to show you how to set up your Google My Business, your GMB listing. The reason it's so important is this is what comes up on every Google search, whether it be through desktop or mobile. These are those three options that come up that have little directions on them. I'll show you on the screen, make it a little easier. So these three here, you notice it takes up the majority of the page when you first search. It gives you three options to pick from. Most people already by research shows that the majority of people pick something from here, something on this first page, right? 40% or so go here. The 30 or so percent end up somewhere here, and then 5 or 8% actually click on more places, or 2 to 3% actually click on page 2. So you can see how important this first page is, but you're not going to show up on here unless you claim your listing and you start doing some things to be able to rank that listing. So we're not going to get too in depth when it comes to the ranking. We're going to go over some of that. So the first part is just gonna show you what materials to have ready and prepared. Just makes that the process that much easier when you actually go and claim your listing. The second part we're going to go over is what to actually do mechanically to go and claim your listing, what the fields mean, what to put where, what to expect. And then the third part is we're going to do an overview or a real quick surface on how to get your listing to rank. And during the entire thing, I'll share a couple of other tips and tricks here and there, because all of this is interconnected. Google's My Business listing is connected to your organic listing, and it takes a lot of factors into play on how to rank your Google My Business listing. So I'll address a couple of those. As questions come up, just throw them over into the chat or jump into the group and shoot them over or private message them over to me. This is what we do. We love doing it. So any information we can help or share, let us know. So with that being said, let's jump in. First part is getting your stuff ready. So here you'll see that we have prepared a couple of things. One, we grabbed all the pictures that we want to use. Now you want to use more than this. This is just an example for this particular video, but you want to have more pictures than your competition. So if your competition has 30 pictures, you want to have 60, right? 50. If your competition has 60 pictures, you want to have 90, right? You just want to be able to beat them by a good sum. Now you'll notice that in these pictures, they're not all named the same. Based on our keyword research, we found what keywords we want this particular company to rank for, and so we started implementing and infusing that into their into the file names of the pictures that we're going to be using. You see they're not all the same, right? The reason for that is you will get a negative penalty from Google if you do decide to use all the same keywords. So they're all different, but having to do with the same thing, having to do with Las Vegas roofing. So you see commercial roofing and concrete tile roofing, flat roofing install in Las Vegas and an office building. So that's all the titles. You'll also notice that they're resized. We resized them as small as possible while still maintaining it, the best quality. So the reason for that is Google doesn't want to deal with large files. It doesn't want to serve large files to its audience or its client base, which is anyone who uses the Google search tool. And because it just takes longer to come up on search engine, it takes longer to load on a phone, it takes longer to load on a computer. So the smaller the file size, the better. And then if you go into properties, you'll see that we went into the EXIF info on each photo, and that's just metadata. That's easy to describe it. It's just content that's embedded into the photograph to give you more information on that photo, because search engines can't look at a photo and tell you what it is. It has to go by this text. So here we're telling it, this is the title of the photo, this is the subject of the photo, these are the tags of this particular photo and what it's about. Here are the comments of the photo, and so what we add in the comments is we added the company name, company address, company phone number, and the company latitude and longitude, which is super important to have. You'll see that also down here in the GPS section, latitude and longitude. This is very important to have, especially when it comes to a local business. All this here, anything that comes up on maps, I mean, it doesn't give you a latitude and longitude because that's not how we function, right? But the core of this, the reason there's an actual pinpoint right here in this particular place, is because there is a latitude and longitude attached to this dot. So the more of that we can give Google, the more relevant we make our listing. So that's why we embed the latitude and longitude onto all these pictures. So huge tip for you. And the way to edit this, you can just go and, let's say, type in free EXIF tool. And there's a ton. I mean, a ton of tools come up well, I can't really recommend any of them because I haven't used all of them. There's one that we use for our agency that's particular for online marketing guys. It just makes it easy for us. But there's a ton of tools, a ton of different ways. Just use a Google search and see how you can change the EXIF information on a photo. For those of you who have Photoshop, you can do it with Photoshop. Ton of ways to do it. I'll let you figure out that part of it. But once you have it all optimized and all labeled correctly and they're all different, you want to make sure that you have a square logo, you have a rectangular formatted logo. You don't have to have, it's just easier if you have them in this format already, and you have some type of cover page. Right, so you can make this as creative or as simple as you want. But you want to make sure that you have these elements in here. There's also something missing from here, which is staff pictures. So this is an example, we didn't pull that. But you'll have just pictures of your staff. This is more considered headshots, not really this. Like, even though this is staff working, it's not really what it's asking for. It's just looking for headshots. There's something that kind of can, just focus on the particular staff member. You can see their face and they can be recognized. So this is having your photos ready. You also want to make sure that you have, we already talked about the logo, you have your company details. So your office hours, you have your name, phone number, name, address, and phone number, your NAP for short, NAP. That's super important. I'm going to go over here in a second why that's so important. But you want to make sure you have that information. And so before we actually go and make our listing, we want to see if Google has already created a listing for us. And the reason for this, Google isn't just an island. I mean, they aggregate data from everywhere. So if you already have a business license or a business certificate, or if you inputted your business on other business directories that maybe not here, Google scrapes all that info and puts it into their Google Maps listing. The reason for that is they want to be able to provide the best experience for their customers, which is anyone who uses their product, right? Their Google search. So when someone types something in, they want to be able to give that customer what they're looking for. And even though you might not have cared enough to create a Google My Business listing, right? That doesn't mean that it's not needed. So Google built one for you, right? And it's there. So you want to search for it first to make sure it exists or not, because you don't want to create a duplicate listing. The reason for that is Google is just a computer, right? It's just an algorithm. So it's not going to know which one to serve your particular client, right? Or that particular person who's looking for your services. So if you have two listings, it's not going to know which one to serve. So it might not serve any of them, right? And it'll just trash them both. Or it might serve the wrong one, or not the one you've been working on so hard with populating pictures and getting reviews for and all this. They might populate this one instead. So it's just confusing to Google. You don't want to have duplicate listings. So you want to go in, and you want to do a search real quick to see if your business is already there. And that's pretty simple to do. I'll show you that right now. So you'll type in the actual name of your business. So I'll give you an example. Let's say if we type in Mechanic Las Vegas, I'll show you an example of a company who hasn't claimed their business. saw this earlier today. Here, Japanese car service. Let's click on that. You notice that it says own this business as a question mark. Right? On this one, it doesn't. Right? That's because this one has been claimed. This one as well has been claimed. Claimed. Right? Claimed. But this guy, and this guy's popular. I mean, 42 reviews. That's a challenge. That's not easy to get. This guy has business. Business is coming in. People are reviewing his company. I'll talk about reviews here in a bit, closer to the end of this. But he hasn't claimed his business. So if this is you, right? If you find your, so what you would type in is you would type in the exact name of your company, right? So for this guy, let's go Japanese car service, and he'll find himself. Oh look, I'm here. Awesome. He'll want to claim this. The other way it comes up sometimes, if let's say Google got your name wrong, type in your address, and a lot of times you can ask Google what is here, and it'll come up as well, and so then you can claim your listing this way. So type in your name, your business name, type in your business address, and if nothing comes up for either one, all right, let's go ahead and claim it. If it does come up, all you got to do now is see Google has most of your information, or what it thinks your information is. So click on own this business. You'll have to log in to your Google account. So I'm going to log into my test account, and it's going to take you here. Now, because it already had a lot of your information, it skipped a lot of steps. We're going to show you what all those steps are to get you back to this point to create a listing, let's say from scratch. But here it would say, awesome, I'm authorized. You would hit continue, and then it'll send a verification postcard. Kind of getting ahead of myself, but you'll see where we come back to this here in a bit. So we're going to say, no, we don't. This isn't our business. We couldn't find it. We're going to start from scratch. So the way we do that is we'll go to Google My Business, click on this link, sign in. I already signed in, so it's going to take me straight to here. And here is where you start inputting your business information. So let's go, let's say this is going to be for JR Videography. Okay. It'll pop up, hey, are you any of these? Nope, this is in LA. We're out of Las Vegas. So we're going to enter our address. Now this is the address that your business is registered to. So your business license, any business certification, wherever your business license address, whatever's listed on your business license is the address you want to use. The reason for that is sometimes Google, the verification postcard isn't enough. Again, that'll make more sense once I tell you what it is. But sometimes that isn't enough, and they'll still suspend the account until you can show them proof that you can run a business out of there. So this is going to be a home-based business, right? This is the guy runs his business out of his home. And that'll be the example that I kind of show throughout the rest of this, is a home-based business. If you have a brick and mortar store, I'll show you some variations to do to this. And but for the sake of this particular example, home-based business, this is a business where people get services delivered or goods delivered to the customer's location, not that they come to this home to be serviced, right? Or to stop by or to drop in. So with that being said, where was I? Okay. So you want to enter in the address that your business license or any other certification is, because Google might ask for it to verify your listing. There's a lot of spamming that happens with listings. A company will just start creating 20, 30 listings just to get more placement or positions on Google Maps, and Google's savvy to that, and they'll just cancel his entire account, even the legitimate one. So it's not, it's not a practice you want to do. So here we'll put in the address, zip code. We want to put in the company number. Something very important to note, it has to be a local number. You cannot have a Google My Business listing with a 1-800 number or a 188 number or any type of toll-free number. Here it has to be local. That's the whole purpose of the Google Maps section, is for local businesses. Enter your category. So you want to enter the category that is that closest represents your service or industry. So let's say this guy's a wedding videographer. So let's type in wedding, but you'll notice there is no videographer, right, or cinematographer service. There's a wedding photographer, but let's say that's not his main thing. So he's going to look for something else, and while he's looking, he'll see a video production service. Awesome. Sounds good. That's what I'll use. Another way is if you type in wedding videography Las Vegas, you can kind of see what other people are coming up for. This guy's coming up for wedding photographer, wedding video production, wedding video production. You can kind of get a feel of what people are coming up for, and then you can kind of choose accordingly, whatever's the closest. You don't want to put in, even though it'll allow you, like you don't want to put in something that Google doesn't populate already. The main reason for that is just to be able to come up in listings easier. So whatever Google says, hey, this is what you're closest to, you want to pick something that Google populates here for you. So for this example, we're going to do videography, video production services. You'll enter in your website. Here's a note too, only enter the website if it's finished, if it's complete, if it's live. You do not want to enter a website that you just only have the domain for and nothing is there at the domain. They'll also flag the site because, again, you're not providing something complete to Google's clients. So when they search and they click on the website area, if they go to a 404 or a website not found, Google doesn't like that. They'll suspend your account, and then you just have more work to do. So if it's not finished, don't put it on here. You can put it on later. Now this bottom part here, really important. Again, if you were a brick and mortar store, you don't deliver goods and services to customers at their location, just hit no. And what that'll do is then you will populate. So you see here it says directions, and it gives you the exact address. So people can come to you, and they know how to get to you, and know how to drop in, they know exactly where you are. If you don't do that, like this example, this mobile auto repair guy, he doesn't have a shop. He goes out to fix your car wherever it is. So he selected, I deliver goods and services to my customers at their location. And so he doesn't have a directions button. No one can just stop by his house, right, where he has his business license from, and say, hey, fix my car, because that's not what he does. He'll come out to you. So let's hit continue. And here you get to pick what area you service. Now, you might be tempted to just add everything around you. So let me add Las Vegas, let me add Henderson, let me add Boulder City, let me add, this is just an example, but in your whatever region you're in, you'll want to add everything. Oh, let me add everything within 200 miles of me. And the problem with that is you're making the bucket bigger, but also your competition. There's more of them. So if you focus down on just the major city that you service out of, and the one that your address is actually in, you're more apt to rank higher in the Google My Maps listing. So let me repeat that. If you select only the region, the city that your map listing is located, that your address is located in, you're more apt to rank, because there's less competition and it makes you more relevant. Because when someone does a search within that city, it just makes sense to service the person closest, which will be you. Unless you make that net too huge, it's not going to know who to service. And so the people in Boulder City who are actually in Boulder City, right, or fill in the blank, relatively close city to you, they're going to show those listings first above you anyways. So it's just going to water down your listing, in short. So stick to one region. There's other ways to make this a little more powerful, but that's a little advanced at this point, and it has to do with what you do with your site and other listings and multiple listings and so on and so forth. That's not really within the scope of this video. Here we're just getting you to claim your listing. This is phase one. So pick the city that's the most relevant to your address. And here again, if you're a brick and mortar store that also serves clients at your address, click this, and you will also then get that button that says directions, and your address will come up. For this example, we're not going to, so we're just going to move forward from here. This next part is super important. This is what Google said your NAP is: your name, address, and phone number. So you want to take this, stop everything else, and email it to yourself. Write it down, put it in a safe, do anything you can to make sure that you lock this address down. And the reason for that is it's one of the biggest indicators to Google that you're a legitimate business, that you have your information the same across all directories. So a directory, right? So Google, it's just a directory, the same as the Yellow Pages is a directory, Facebook is a directory, Yelp is a directory. There's hundreds and hundreds of directories. That part of your job, and we'll go over that during the last section, is to start entering your business information, like the Better Business Bureau, right? That's a directory. And you want to enter your information to all these directories. These are all citations. These are all, let's say, votes to Google saying, this business is legitimate. Look where he is. He doesn't just exist here, but he exists online across all of these directories. These guys care about their business. They care about their online presence. And if they care about this, most probably they care about how they service their clients. So they will give you a couple extra little bonus points and have you rank a little higher. And I'll show you an example and kind of how that's proven when it comes to citations. Now, the other thing with citations and these directories and getting your NAP correct on all these across the board is, you know what, I'll go over that in a bit. It has to do with the authority that you're getting, the authority of the site that you're putting your business listed in. So I'll go over that in more detail in a bit, just to kind of just allude to it. But where you get listed is also important, as how many of them, how many directories that you're in. So for now, just make sure that you copy that information exactly the way you see it, because you're going to be using that later on. So from here, you click on, yes, I'm authorized to manage this business. Click continue. And it will take you to a section to verify. They verify by mail by sending you a postcard. I'll show you what that postcard looks like here in a bit, but you say, yes, I want to be sent by mail. And you can put it, attention to, your name, but it's going to come to that address, and it's going to look like this. So not really a postcard, it's more like a, where you get a check in the mail, but this is what it looks like, and it'll say here the company name, attention to. Then when you open it, this is what you'll see inside, your verification code. So we're going to say send postcard. It says it'll arrive between 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the city that you're out of. I mean, here in Vegas, we get them within 3 or 4 days. So let's hit continue on that. This pops up only because you didn't enter a website earlier. If you did, this isn't going to pop up. But you don't have to worry about this if you have a set website being built. I would highly suggest getting a website built and not building it through here. But more on that later. That's content for a different video. So now you have the skeleton structure of your listing created. Now we're going to flesh it out. So we're going to go to edit. We're going to add a couple things. Here under the categories, we're going to add everything else that's relevant. So let's say this videography company also does do wedding photography. Fantastic. Then let's add that. And they are also a wedding service. So let's add that. And they also do, they also do video editing, right? It's just standalone video editing. So let's do that. And anything else that you find. I think it lets you do up to 5 extra ones. And so as many as are relevant, you want to add. Now here's a little bonus tip. These are called categories. If you want to start ranking better organically and in listings, start having the content of your website reflect these categories. Have content on your site talking about verbatim video production service in Vegas, and have a page on that, right? Start talking, start having your page start speaking towards these particular categories. This is what Google is saying. This is what I'm looking for. This is, you know, what I'm listing for couples or for clients that are looking for this service, video editing service. So have it say that, not editing services or videography editing services or cinematography. No, video editing service, and then whatever else you want to form around that. So again, that's a video for another day, but that's a little tip. If you're still building out your site, working on the content, you know, this is where you want to start reflecting on your site. From there, let's go to hours. So here's another tip. If you're a brick and mortar company, have this be your exact time and honor these times. So if you are 9 to 5, you make sure that you are ready to service a client at 9 and that you do not close the doors until 5 p.m., right? Like, because if someone shows up at 4:55 to your location, right, if being a brick and mortar store, and the doors are locked, believe me that you're going to get a bad review. I mean, they already found you through maps. It's going to be really easy for them just to say, review, hey, these people were closed, they wouldn't open the door, and one bad review outdoes like 10, 12 good reviews. I mean, it's rough. So, yeah, make sure you honor your times. Now, here's a tip. If you're not a brick and mortar store, if we go here, let's go to this example, Wedding Videography Las Vegas, and you'll see that for my 3 options, one of them says closed today, and 2 of them are open. Now, a videography service isn't something that I'm going to walk into. It's not something that I'm looking to make a purchase today, right? That has a long sales cycle attached to it. But I am looking to just reach out to someone. Here, this already has a negative connotation of closed, meaning I might not get a response instantaneously. Now, you're probably not going to get a response instantaneously from these guys either, but as a someone who's just searching out, I'm more apt, and this is not just me, this is research that has been done, right, that these guys are more likely to get a email because it doesn't say closed today. So for them, in the client's mind, they have a better chance of getting a response instantaneously, which is kind of how the internet works. Is they want, people want instant gratification. It's why Amazon is so, I mean, they're one-day delivery, they're, have it now, have it now. It's why it works so well, right? It's kind of like the culture that we're in. So if you are service-based and you don't have a storefront that people can stop in, then have your hours just say 24 hours. This way, it will never say closed, and it's not like it's going to make or break it. It's not like having this all of a sudden you get 50% more inquiries. No, not at all. But it might give you 5% more. It might give you 8% more, right? Because when someone stops here, they'll say, oh, well, this guy's probably still open. Let me go to his site and let me get some information. So that's a little tip. Let's see, moving on. Once you get your website, you'll enter it here, and you already have your phone number. Photos. So we did all the work earlier where we have our logos, we have our cover photo. Now all we do is just enter in that, dump all that information in the corresponding place. So we will go to profile photo, and that will be your square logo. And we'll set that. Then we'll go to cover photo and put in our cover photo. Now we'll go to the at work section, and we will grab all the pictures that show our team at work. And we'll dump that in. Remember what I said earlier? More pictures the better, but don't let that stop you from at least starting. If you only have 10 pictures, put 10 pictures. If you only have 5 pictures, put 5 pictures. This is something you can always come back to and keep adding pictures and adding pictures and adding pictures until you do beat your competition. So don't feel that, oh, Gabe said I needed to have more than the competition. Competition has 60. Now I gotta wait till I have 90 pictures. No, start with what you have and then build from there. Here, team is where you'll put your headshots of your team, have it named, and then identity is where we have a spot for the horizontal logo. So we'll drag that over, and that is it. Now you have pictures on your listing. So once you get your postcard, you'll have an option up here that says enter code. You'll click on that, enter your information, and 8 out of 10 times your site will be verified. That 20%, you'll have to send Google or contact Google in some way and say, hey, why is my listing suspended, or why is it still under review? They might ask some information from you. A lot of times they'll call the company and pretend to be a client just to verify that that's a real phone number. So they'll do something to verify it, and then yay, you're on. So congratulations. At this point, you have created your Google My Business listing. Now you're on Google, you've claimed your listing, you have control over it. Once you do verify it, there are other things that pop up, things called posts, things called messages, things called other ways to interact and engage with your clients or your potential clients that Google gives you. So if you have any questions on that, shoot them over. I think I'll make another video just for those items later on. I just want to keep this one as simple as possible, just how to get your Google My Business listing up and running. Let's see that. Oh, on helping ranking. So from this point, if you got your listing up and you're exhausted, cool, take a break. You can come back to the rest of this later. But I'm going to go a real quick overview on what to do to your site or what to do to your listing to help it rank. At this point, you have one citation on the internet, right, that says your business exists, and that's with Google My Business, the listing you created, if you haven't created anything else. Now what you want to do is you want to go and find as many other relevant directories as possible and put in your information, your NAP, your name, address, and phone number. And you want to put it in exactly the way that Google said it earlier when we copied and pasted and emailed it to yourself. You want to do it exactly that same way. I'm going to show you some research that we did for a roofing company to check out what the competition was doing and how many citations we needed to build to be able to overtake them. So here we, under research, okay, we use a company called Bright Local to aggregate all this data for us. And here you can see the search term and where the company placed. So First Quality Roofing, they're doing great on their online marketing. They are first for this search term. They're also first for Roofing Companies Las Vegas. And you'll notice that they have the most citations of the top 10 companies. Here comes second with the second most. And here comes third with kind of the third most. And this brings up a point that I said earlier. Citations isn't the only thing that will rank your listing. It's just one of the many, and it's on a short list. It's one of the most. It's pretty important compared to many other qualifiers, right? But it isn't the only thing. So, for example, here you'll see that this guy with only 17 citations is outranking this guy with 61, and that could be other factors. That could be how well this guy's site is optimized, his actual website is optimized. For the Google My Business listing, they use a hybrid algorithm, so it's not just based on local information, but it's also based on the website and your organic. Google assumes that if you have a very good organic presence and if your site is ranking number 1, 2, 3, 4 on the first page of Google, that you must be doing something right, that you must be an authority in that particular field. And so it's going to then boost your local listing as well to reflect that. So this is what we could be seeing here, even though we only have 17 citations. That and this guy has 61, this guy has 70, 63, that this guy's site just might prove to be way more authoritative than everyone else's here past him. So this kind of shows you, hey, citations are important, get as many as you can. Now from there, let's talk about citations themselves. Here we did a report just on that particular company's citations and where they were listed. Now keep in mind, even though, let's say you went out tomorrow and you registered yourself to 10, or to like 100 other business directories, you're not going to come up. Google's not going to find that for months. I mean, if not, anywhere between 3 weeks to 2 months, it all just varies. Google isn't quick on locking down citations. They're quick on finding backlinks. They're quick on finding content on your page. They're not the quickest on attaching citations to your site. So the sooner you do this, the better. And here, you'll see the order. The reason this is broken up in this particular order is every citation has a level of authority that Google assigns it. And so you'll see that Google Local obviously is the most authoritative indicator to them about what your company is and where it should rank. But Facebook is a close second, and then LinkedIn, and then Yahoo Local, and then the BBB, and so on and so forth. So you want to make sure that you are at least in the top 30, top 100 most authoritative directories. And when you are, you'll see this guy, he didn't create a Facebook page. Now it is not hurting him too much. He's still on the top because he has 126 and his website's probably really well optimized, but this will help him, so he should get that going. You'll also notice down here that his listing isn't the same as what Google assigned to him. So you don't see that most of them are. So here's almost identical. You see the number might be a little off here. These are all things that he should go back and fix. This should be fixed. This should be fixed. So you want it to be identical across the board. All of them as identical as possible. There are going to be some directories that might not allow you to do it in any other way, right? Like I highly doubt this was one of them. It's not going to not let you submit it if you don't input, a suite number. So this was just an error on their end. But you want to have your NAP information identical across the board. And the more of that you have, the more it makes Google feel that you care about your business, you care about where it's listed, that you're paying attention to the trends and what needs to happen. And so because you're so awake online, you must be good at your business. It's just all part of its algorithm, and it'll help you rank. So that's pretty much the short of it, 38 minutes later. But if you have any questions, shoot me off an email or shoot me off join the group. Put your questions into the group. It kind of creates almost like a journal, like a log. So if anyone else has a question, they can jump in, search for the question, and find the answer themselves. Or you can just message me directly. Or if you need if you yourself or somebody who has a business who needs help with this, this is what we do for a living. So we know a little bit more than the surface that we kind of shared, right? We know the inner workings and how to make it, tie into the site and how to make your effort, really, really worthwhile when it comes to online marketing. So if you know anyone who wants to, do this on a professional level, just have them reach out to us and we will happily take care of them. So till then, enjoy your online marketing adventures, and we will get together for another video here shortly.